Hello! Welcome to The Healing Artist. I'm your host, Freda, and friends, today I have a special treat from you. We are visiting with Michael Monk. They are a world-renowned healer and teacher of spirituality, metaphysics, and energy mastery with focus on a devotion to God. Michael's journey began in 1999 when he spontaneously received a powerful communication from the voice of God, followed by many experiences of reality bending miracles through prayer. Seeking to understand the mechanisms behind the miracles, his experience led him to the art of spiritual energy mastery. Guided by the Holy Spirit, Michael quickly obtained a very high level of consciousness understanding and demonstratable abilities, including a telekinetic influence over the elements. He created the Avatar Energy Mastery Institute in 2011, an online school where thousands of people from all over the world have been able to successfully study and train in the art of healing, clairvoyance and out-of-body travel, telekinesis, and mastery of the mind over the body. Michael Monk, welcome to The Healing Artist.
Thank you, Frida. Glad to be here.
So I would love for you to just right off the top share your story of this big spiritual awakening and everything that followed. Amazing.
Absolutely. And I'll do my best to give the short version. It could easily take the whole show if I don't. So, okay, yes, it all began in 1999. To give a little background, I was raised religious, Mormon, which is a Christian faith. And I was the first to rebel and say, I'm not going anymore. The important backdrop is I wasn't seeking. I had no interest at all. I was just mindlessly enjoying a comedy movie in the winter of 1999 when all of a sudden this powerful energy comes through the top of my head. The crown chakra, I didn't know what one was at the time, but it rested in the center of my mind, so powerful. And then it spoke, and I could hear it in my eardrums, and I could sense it telepathically in my brain. So it was an audible and a telepathic communication simultaneously. And it basically translated as stop laughing, stand up, turn the TV off. And so I was like, okay. And I did. And as soon as I turned the TV off, I was curious about, well, what's talking to me? I was very close to my grandfather, and he died recently. So I said, grandfather? And the voice answered, yes. And then this energy from like toe to head rises up, electricity, hair standing on the end, and champagne bubbles of bliss to confirm that. But then there was this feeling like the entity was inside of me, so it was telepathic, but then it's like gave me a curiosity, like there's more. So I said, cousin Jason, who had recently passed. The voice says, yes, same thing, electricity, hair standing on end, champagne bubbles of bliss. And then I was like, okay, you're my grandfather and you're my cousin. I'm confused. And as soon as I said that, my inner vision pops open, my third eye, though I had no idea what one was at the time. My outer vision was replaced with my inner vision, and I beheld thousands, millions, billions, a massive host of humanoid beings of light that were all connected like stars in the sky and speaking as one unified voice to me. That's when my heart knew what I was talking to. And so I acknowledged it as God, and the voice was pleased and gave me the energy, the champagne bubbles and everything, and said, you have finally met me. I give you a space and time. You can ask any questions. We dialogued for about 2 hours. The nature of the conversation isn't important, as it was mostly biblical in nature, questions about the Bible. It's all I had to go on at the time. It
Okay.
would answer those questions and then try to lead me towards something that I couldn't grasp yet. I just wasn't ready for it. So after that, that'll light you on fire. That'll change your life. So I started reading the Bible, and even though the voice went away, the presence that I call the Holy Spirit that gave me the energy and the hair standing and all that stayed with me. So I had this yes and no relationship with God where if I read something, if I understood it correctly, I'd get the hairs, the electricity, and the champagne bubbles. If I understood correctly or had a incorrect thought, it would be a slight fight flight feeling in the adrenals in the stomach. So I was able to get information from the Bible that wouldn't be typically available to a person who's only reading the black and white print of it. Um, so this went on for about 2 weeks before I experienced my first miracle. And I was home alone, and we were very poor at the time, so we had failed to pay the electric bill. It was during the day.
And
I had an accident,
how old were you when you first,
early 20s.
early 20s? Okay. Yeah.
So I'm home alone and I have an accident. I get stabbed in my left eye and deep with a sharp object. And I go into the bathroom to examine it, and there's blood and eye fluid leaking out. Basically, I lost my eye, was what it boiled down to. When I realized that, my right eye tears up in fear, and now I'm blind. Now I can't see anything. But in that space, in that darkness, a strange calm fell upon me, and a soft voice seemed to say, "Well, Michael, you talked to God 2 weeks ago. Why not pray?" So I did. I got down on my knees, prostrated myself, and I prayed in the way that I knew how, which was the exact words, "Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, let my eye be healed." The instant I stopped speaking, zang, like every molecule in my body vibrated and sped up. I get up from the prayer. I look in the mirror. The blood is gone. The eye fluid gone. The tears gone. But from the center of my forehead, a thin stream of blood was dripping down, like right where the third eye would be. I wipe it off, and there's no wound on my forehead to excuse the blood. So this is what came next.
This is terribly exciting. I've actually never met anyone that's actually had the physical experience like that before.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge,
Yeah,
and that's why
that's
I was
really
jaw dropped. It's a
exciting.
biblical level miracle, like
Yeah.
a transfiguration. Like, what do you do with that? I wasn't just happy, I was also confused and afraid. It wasn't just a happy thing, because that would change your life. And who can you share it with? Who would believe you? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, well, and I mean in the early in the very early 2000s too, like 99, 2000, if this is happening, also there wasn't consciousness for this then either.
Right, right. Yeah, we've
This
come
is
a long
like
way since then.
definitely, I mean, this is the sort of thing that would be on the X-Files.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was pre-social media and before spiritual people got together from all
Yeah.
corners of the planet. So yeah, that was
Okay, this is amazing. Okay, wait, what color is eye fluid? Was it
it's
clear?
clear,
Okay.
clear. Yeah,
Okay, this is really amazing. Okay, so you've had stigmata on your forehead, your eye has magically been healed. Is it's an
yeah.
absolute miracle. Now what?
Well, then, I tried telling my friends and family, but they pretty much didn't believe me, or they would placate me and then whisper behind like things they can do to help Michael from losing his mind, which was, okay, you're going camping, don't bring the Bible with you. Like, anything they could to keep me away from it. But over the course of about eight years, from 2000 to 2008, I would read the Bible, I would pray. I tried to go back to church and tell the elders about my experience, which ended up being rejected. And I told them about God's interpretation of specific scriptures that I'm being given, which they rejected. And I realized pretty quick that the church would not uh, agree with my experiences or what I'm saying God is actually saying that the Bible means. And so I made a choice to trust myself and my
Yeah.
experience with God over the church. I saw a bunch of lifeless old men who never experienced a miracle, with no authentic connection to God, trying to tell me by the book, what they know. But, no,
Yeah.
if this is the church that represents Jesus Christ on earth, then where's all the miracles? Because I know they're real. I know that it's real. Nobody can tell me that I hallucinated a deep puncture wound in my eye, which
Yeah.
was one of the things they tried to boil it down to. Like, yeah, you stab yourself deep in the eye, and I'll ask you if you're tripping.
Well, yeah, no, you know what's funny, Michael? Like when I started to wake up, when I had my spiritual awakening, I started hearing voices. Well, I was hearing angels, but I was like on the internet, like looking up late stage female schizophrenia.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, because it's like, what is this?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. And also, my question is, when you're talking about the Bible, is that like what Bible is it? Do the Mormons have the same Bible as?
King James.
King James. Okay, right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, so
now
so
what?
yeah, 8 years I experienced 5 or 6 reality bending miracles by prayer. Another one was a healing of two incurable diseases that are private in nature, so I don't want to share, but they're
Oh,
medically accepted as not curable, and overnight healing. I pray
wow, yeah.
overnight healing. Another lady had a cancerous tumor deep in her left leg, and she was scheduled for surgery. She had heard about my experience and asked me to pray over her. I did. She was healed overnight and done, like done deal. So fast forward 2008, the accepted MO in my family is Michael needs to stop worrying about God and miracles and needs to work a job and get his life in order. So that's what I was doing. But I got a bug in me about 2012, just everybody talking about it, and the Holy Spirit vibrated in a way to like say, "Pay attention, Michael. There's something here." So I'm at work and I should be working, but I'm on the internet and I researched 2012, and David Wilcock pops up, one of his early videos, and he's giving a talk, and I'm feeling the Holy Spirit confirming many of the things that he's saying. And he kept mentioning this book called The Law of One, which is a channeling done by Carla Ruckert in the 80s to an entity called Ra, who claims to be a Venusian
Mhm.
consciousness and a servant of the one infinite creator. So I start reading that online and I'm just floored because the Holy Spirit's giving me confirmation after confirmation, even more powerful than when I read the Bible. Like really powerful. And one of the passages struck me in particular. It's describing that we see a physical reality, but that it's a sensory construct or illusion, that really
Yeah,
there's only this universal field of energy that our
yeah.
senses are forming into physicality. And I read that and I understood it here, but I understood it here in the heart, like
Understood.
yeah, understood it.
I like that.
And right when I did, zang, I get hit with the energy, and the voice of God comes back, which has been silent for years, and said, "Good, Michael, now go outside and get away from people." So I stood up right away, went out back of the office building, into the parking lot, and as soon as I stopped walking, the entire world starts rippling and shimmering, just like heat coming off the blacktop on a hot summer's day, except there was rainbow hues of light to it. And it was everywhere, everywhere. And when I saw it, once again, my heart knew this place, not my head, but my heart was like, I've been here before. Not only that, but I know what to do next. And basically, I opened my heart chakra, but I didn't know what a heart chakra was. What I knew to do next was like stepping out of your chest. I just stepped out of my chest, and when I did, my body started doing the same thing as the reality around me became rippling rainbow light. And I remember looking at my arms, and they're just wisping away into light. I remember looking through my chest and my hips and my legs to the concrete beneath me, and everything was this rippling energy. And I had a fear-based thought at that point. I said to myself, what if I can't rematerialize? And
Ooh.
the instant I had that thought, zang, I'm slammed back into physicality. My heart's beating out of my chest. A moment ago, I didn't even have a heart, but
Right.
yeah, so that was what I call a full body dematerialization, and a viewing of what the world really was, because I read it, I understood it, and then God gave me the experience of it. So for 2 years after that, I cursed myself as a coward because my fear interrupted the experience, which was surely a full invitation to heaven that I rejected. And I started studying metaphysics and meditation to try to open that door for myself. And I did finally after 2 years, and it was through simplicity, not complexity. What I learned all in one moment of just spacing out, vegging out like a catatonic, was that a spiritual focus is the opposite of what we as humans call focus. A spiritual focus is a complete lack of focus on anything. You focus on nothing at all, or everything with an equally distributed focus would be another way of saying it. So the human focus is bifocal, right? We're always taking the left and the right hemisphere to examine individual things. I just canceled that and all of a sudden the rippling energy was back, and everywhere I could see it in my hands, see it coming off of my hands. I could see it in the air, and everywhere. Not only that, but I had control over it, so I could turn the dial down and go to a physical perception, or turn the dial up and everything starts becoming waveform. So that's when I was a kid in the candy store. I knew about this magical world that nobody knows about. And for a year straight, all I did was come home from work, put on my pajamas, open up my clairvoyance,
Mm-hmm.
play and take notes using, I guess you could say, a scientific method. I'm from a family of scientists and engineers, and although that's not me at all, I'm familiar with that type of logic. So I would doubt my experiences. I would try and test it. And more than anything, I would just take notes about how the energy behaves. How does it respond to my thoughts? How does it respond to my feelings? How does it respond to projected geometries like an upward triangle, a downward triangle, a sphere? Just one thing after another. Um, it was about a year into that. I was laying on my bed doing my favorite clairvoyance activity, which is going so deep into the waveform perception that when you breathe, you can actually see your breath. It looks like dragon's breath, like clear fire, like you can see ripples of
Yeah.
energy coming out your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I experienced a type of walk-in, but from deep inside, from deep in my heart, a new consciousness rose to the surface, borrowed my voice box, and I found myself speaking these words. I am not the physical body. I am the light that flows out of it. As soon
Mm-hmm.
as I stop speaking, all the energy in the room collapses into me like a dying star going supernova and explodes back out, except I went with it. My mind went with it to
Mm-hmm.
where now, whereas before I was this tiny little being of energy in an ocean of energy, I was now the source of all the energy that I saw, and the energy was a part of my very body and my mind. My consciousness was attached to it. And that's when I realized that from that shift in perception, I was now telekinetic. The air would respond to me. I could make the wind blow or stop or change directions. I could make the sun come out on a cloudy day. If it's a balance between maybe it'll rain, maybe it won't, I could have it go one way or the other. I've got all these demonstrations on YouTube of the various types of telekinetic influence that you gain from this type of spiritual expansion. And that's when I realized I had something to share. It wasn't just my own private world anymore, but I had something to share. And so I started the Avatar Energy Mastery Institute, began uploading demonstrations to YouTube. I was either the first or one of the first people to upload legitimate demonstrations of metaphysical power, and started a whole movement. You get online now, there's what, thousands, hundreds of thousands of telekinesis videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was either the start or one of the fathers of that whole movement back in 2011. So we're getting near the end of the story. What's important to understand, in 2011, when I started the Avatar Institute, my path was more about self-empowerment. I put God to the
Mm-hmm.
side, and it
Mm-hmm.
was all about me. And I was teaching other people, it's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was making it all about me, I was telling them it's the same thing for you. It's all about you. And I started embracing the idea that God is internal and not external, internal only, to the point where I am God. And I took it very, very far and had a lot of experiences to back it up, like incredible things that just shouldn't be experienced by a human being, expected to be sane, after that. So what ended up happening is like attracts like. So when you believe with all your heart that you are God, the one, the only, and everything's just a part of you, you automatically attract into your experience other entities that feel the same about themselves. And what happens when two beings get in the same space who believe that they're God? It's a fight. It's a fight every time. And it was very brutal and very violent. For about 6 months, I experienced life-threatening spiritual warfare, like on a nightly basis. And it was very, I would say, scary, but I was built for it. For whatever reasons, all the training, everything that I did, I took to spiritual warfare like a fish in water. And eventually the entities that were trying to do things to me like you would think you're watching The Exorcist. Like they had power over physical reality and were trying to choke me out and eject me from my own body and take it for themselves. And it was very brutal, different than physical combat, but even scarier in its own way because it's not just a fight for your life, it's also a fight for your mind, your body, and your soul. Long story short, there I won, but I became a monster and lost everything sacred in my life. I went dark. I wouldn't say evil, but I went very dark for a time. And it ended up costing me all my assets, my YouTube channel, my websites, my family, my friends, and most importantly, my soulmate, to where I ended up empty and broken. And that's when, by the grace of my woman and our God, her response to that wasn't to seek another man because she really loved me. She turned to God in her despair and reached back out to me when she felt I was safe enough to make contact with. And she reminded me who and what woke me up, that you're supposed to be a man of God. You've lost your way. And so I reached out again to God, and I'd encompass so much, but I gave room that as big as I've grown, maybe something is still bigger than me, and maybe this something bigger than me actually loves me. Well, the fruit from that thought train was luscious. God flowed into me with all this love. I would say forgiveness, but there was nothing to forgive. But God was just like,
Hmm.
you're good. Like this was a natural part. This, you were supposed to experience this. And that's when God told me that my path to self-empowerment was flawed because God set up this reality to where it cannot be mastered. It cannot be overcome without God's help because the nervous system is incomplete. God told me about the tree of life, which is a set of metaphysical pathways that harmonize the energetic pathways of the body and make real ascension possible. And I asked what is required to receive the tree of life, and devotion was the answer. God wanted to know, would I devote all of my self mastery to loving service of the creation? And I said, yes, absolutely. And so that changed me. It healed me from the inside out, made me a better person than I've ever been, and increased my self empowerment like tenfold. Like
Hmm.
it was fruitful in all aspects because I don't do things because it's the right thing to do. I don't have any moral qualms whatsoever. I believe in wisdom. And God showed me the wisdom of being a truly good being in loving service to the creation.
Hmm.
Basically, what I ended up learning is that if you're really on the path of service to self, that is the best way to serve yourself, is to serve God, serve the creation, be a loving symbiotic being. And I learned that by multiplying in the self empowerment. My telekinesis abilities went way up. My healing abilities went way up. My out of body journeys got way more magnificent, like every aspect of it. And so here we are today. I still teach the avatar materials to those who aren't interested in having a relationship with God, but I also started the Metaphysical Church of the Tree of Life, which combines self empowerment with devotion to God to provide the ultimate self-empowerment.
So the story you're sharing, it seems like you had this massive spiritual awakening. You took a path and a journey that ultimately led you to challenges and the challenges brought you through to surrender,
Yes,
to be able to surrender to,
good summary.
yeah. And like, so, hmm. Are you talking about the tree of life like in the Beloved Companion, sort of like that, the teaching the book of Mary Magdalene?
I don't know, because one of the first things God told me when I began to master energy was do not read any more books, do not study any external material. I
Mm-hmm.
want it all to come from you, from the inside. After releasing my materials on the Tree of Life, I've had a lot of people say, Michael, are you in a scene? And I'm like,
Oh,
no,
I know
why?
so much. I
And they're like,
love
because
these scenes.
everything you're
Yes,
saying is matches up with that scenic
yes.
philosophy.
That's so
And
funny, Michael. That's actually why when your team had reached out to my podcast, I love these scenes and Christian mystics, and that's why I was like, yes,
mhm.
I will talk to you.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Love them. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Toltec philosophy too. I've had people from
Yes.
the Toltecs say that I'm just right on with their philosophy. And high
Mm-hmm.
level Qigong Taoist masters say the
Hmm.
same thing. The
Okay.
rainbow light, the diamond heart, so many of the things that I teach are a part of their teachings too. So it was, I mean, I'm the type of guy who just trusts his inner light like 100% far more than I trust the entire external truths. So that's never been a problem for me, but it helps to see that that what the truths that I have put forward match up with these cultures that I have a lot of respect for.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. When you were describing earlier in your story, when you were waking up and you were spending that year after work going home and working in your clairvoyant space, you taught yourself to go into the oneness or to see through the veil.
Yes.
What is the
Yes.
rainbow? What does it, for your experience of going into the oneness,
Hmm.
can you say more about that? Because I'm so curious.
Sure. Sure. Well, okay. Let's get a little scientific here. Our consciousness is undeniably electromagnetic. We have a nervous system and neuron structure in the brain. Wherever we have an electrical connection, we can identify ourselves as being that. So we identify with the body and all the pathways. Well, the electromagnetic field of the heart is measurable scientifically and goes many, many feet beyond the body. So basically, the oneness is your consciousness through focus and exercises, leapfrogs past the nerves and into the electromagnetic energy, and you start to feel the space around you the same way you feel your body. It is you. You become the ground that you walk on. You become the air that surrounds you. You become the sunlight that's shining on you, the air that you breathe, the birds that are chirping, even the people that you talk to. And that coupled with the out of body experience let me know firsthand when you're out of your body, we're in a perpetual state of oneness. It's natural to the spirit. So when you're out of your body, you can go inside of a tree, become the tree, come back out, form into a human, flap your wings, become a bird, fly into a rock, become the rock. You're able to be one with anything. We incarnated into this human experience by overlapping that spirit with a freshly born infant body. And we come from a light, subtle, soft plane of spiritual energy. Well, human measurable electricity is like 100 times greater than the energy that we came from. So the soul just got bombarded with physical level sensory information to where all of a sudden we forget right away that we were eternal spirit and just wah, we cry because it's horrible. Because this reality is two stark lies, like the greatest lies ever told: separation and survival. We can't die in spirit. We can't lose anybody that we love in spirit. And we're one with everything. Here, we're put in this body and we're, okay, what's this? Okay, this is me. I'm walking around in a world that I am not. Inside my body is me. Outside my body is not me. And if you don't work, you don't eat, you don't eat, you die. Like, great. It's an atrocity. It's an affront to the spirit. And I know God made it that way on purpose, but yeah, that's our shock into human existence. And most people never find their spirit. They cycle life after life after life until they're ready to awaken.
You know what's so fun about what you're talking about is like I hear everything that you're saying, but I view it a little bit differently because I love
Okay.
Earth. I love Earth. I
Hmm.
come here. I love it. I love Earth. And I love all of the emotions and all of the feelings. Give them to me as big as humanly possible. And
Hmm.
I, my practice in the world is to stay in my body because I want to feel everything. I want to be in here in Frida. I don't want to be part of everything else. I want to feel this incarnation in this body and learn to do the work through my body, this
Hmm.
body. So, like, because I know that I'm everything and part of the all that is, like, I know I'm everywhere, everything is I am you, you are me, we are one, my I am
Hmm.
presence. But to be here now is what I'm doing. And when you're talking, I'm like, I wonder if you're here to help people break the game. Because I know I'm not here to break the game. I'm here to play the game.
No, no, I believe the only way out is through. So it would require a little more background on me to understand. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I no longer practice telekinesis because it's boring. Because I've maxed out, on the abilities. I am mastering the body, so I
Yeah.
can expand at will into everything. But I'm taking all of that presence and putting it in the body. This is the only thing I want to move. I want mastery of the body.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a body of light. A story is being told to us by the electricity that we're bone, blood, tissue, that we're heavy and encumbered and limited to the five senses. That's just electricity painting a picture to the brain,
Yeah.
painting a picture to the spirit. Scientifically, we know that this is many, many, many tiny particles buzzing, vibrating, orbiting, not even touching each other.
Yeah.
This is a body of light. So when you devote all of your presence to be here, to be now, to be this body, you begin to come out of the nerves and into the cellular level through what I call the living water, and you start to feel an ascended version of your body. So that's entirely my focus now, and to invite God into that space with you by loving God. Love is an attractive energy, a gravitational energy. So as you devote your mastery to loving God, you carry more of God inside of you. As you carry more of God inside of you, everything synchronizes. Health of the body becomes natural. All of your relationships are symbiotic and fruitful, and everything just flows. And so,
Yeah.
yes, I absolutely agree with you, but I do think it's important for someone to remember their spirit so that
Yeah.
it's a choice to be in the body and not a force.
Yes, yes. Well, and I love your storyline and your arc as you're going through because of going to the darkness. You understand transcending into the light. You
Yeah,
understand the movement through, and then you can share that so that
I
not
do.
everyone has to do that. Yeah.
Yes, I practice
You can
being
still,
a very good being out of wisdom, not morality. And morality's great in the absence of wisdom, but God has set this universe up to where team player pays the biggest check, to use a metaphor.
you jumping back to something you just mentioned, you were talking about how the water and the flow and flowing with life. Could you speak a little bit more? What is the teaching that you're getting around speaking to the molecules of water within our body? Because I've been channeling around that too, and I would love to hear your words around it. Because we just speaking love into
Okay.
the water, and then like how we change, how that energetic frequency is actually changing the molecules of water within our body and stuff.
Yeah, well, I call this experience the living water. When I was first activated into this was 2018. I was running cool water over my hand in the sink, and I looked in my reflection in the mirror. My clairvoyance opened up, and the water that was running on my hand, it's like my head opened up and a faucet starts dripping down from heaven, fills my body from toe to head with living water. No other way to describe it. And the presence of God was in that water. And the water spoke to me and said, "We stand with you. Like we bless you. We support you." And that was the first time that I gained a connection to my body that was not nervous system dependent. So now I had a molecular level connection to the body through the living water. And God has shown me that humankind for the longest time has thought that they must choose God or the elements, that the elements are witchcraft. To play with the elements is not holy. But God showed me these are just ignorant humans. I'm in the air, I'm in the water,
Oh,
I'm in
yeah.
the earth. You're supposed to look for me there, not assume that I'm not there. So I found God in the air, I found God in the water, and I found God in the solid matter. And each time you find the Holy Spirit in each new layer of density, there's like a tone. It's like a pure harmonic, and together they make music, like a constant music. So God in the air, human in the water, God in the water. Same thing with the physical matter, and it makes this living music inside your body.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's like a
Mhm.
frequency in all things, and we can go and sense the different frequencies. I don't have clairvoyance, so I have not experienced anything like you're talking about the pictures, but it's all like a feeling
Okay.
or a knowing.
Yeah. That's a type of clairvoyance, right? All of the senses, they're based on the primary sense, which is touch.
Mm-hmm.
That is the primary sense. We have a thalamus cortex in the center of the brain surrounding the pineal gland. And when we get sensory information, it passes through the thalamus. The thalamus decodes it and decides where to send it. So you see something, it gets thalamus says, "Oh, that's rainbow spectrum vibration." That goes to the sense of sight. Well, I teach an entry level exercise in my course to where you gain presence in the thalamus. You can direct it to wherever you want. Now, all of a sudden, what you see, you can touch. What you hear, you can feel. You can see music. Uh, Medical community calls this synesthesia.
Yeah.
We call it sensory overlap, and it's an ability that anybody can gain. And so remember that sight is just an expanded sense of touch, because I reach out with the spirit and I start touching, sort of like a blind person reading Veil or reading Braille. And this is how I've seen the elements, not through this type of vision, but through this type of
Mm-hmm.
vision, touching with my extended fingertips. I say this so that you can know that you might be able to see better than you think. You might just be discounting the information that you're getting.
It's just not like a movie.
Right, right. Yeah, it's very rarely like a movie for me either, but I've learned to trust it's like a particle sight, like a very generalized vision.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yes. Then I do understand. Yes. Beautiful. Amazing. Tell me, gosh, wow. I kind of would love to just have a brief overview of the tree if that's possible and like on your teaching because I'm just genuinely
Sure.
curious.
Sure, yeah, I'll give the backdrop on that. So a tree is an ancient word because it's the best thing that they had. Like you look at the nervous system, just the nerves, like a picture, a scientific picture of the nervous system, and it looks like a river with tributaries, or it looks like a branch of a tree. So a tree is a very ancient word that shamans and mystics use to describe a matrix,
Okay.
because without the electrical system, which is a matrix, which is a tree, there's nothing but the universal waveform energy, which is beautiful, blissful, complete, but it's not the bee's knees. It's not the end all be all. We've learned to translate that into ground we walk on, sky we breathe, sun that shines on us, people that we talk to. There's great benefits in the sensory interpretation. So to go back to the Bible story, that Adam and Eve ate from the fruit of the tree of life means that they incarnated through the nervous system and subjected their spirit to the five sensory array of data that causes this experience, which is an experience of good and evil. It's an experience of the yin and the yang, the tree of knowledge. That's what the nervous system is. Well, I always thought as an energy master, I teach exercises to increase the size and the sensitivity of the nerves by flowing energy through them, and you get more sensitive and more powerful. I thought that I was going to be able to overwhelm the body with electrical stimulus and gain a full conscious control. But after the fall and my reunion with God, God showed me very clearly that this never would have been possible, because there's a protection mechanism set on the nerves. They're not harmonic enough to gain a full control over the body, that it requires the creator to work with you. So the tree of life is a set of metaphysical circuitry, which is a deeper density, like even greater than the nerves of the body, and also lighter. So it's new pathways that are both inside and outside of the body that give you a five sensory array of information. Whereas before, I had my nervous system connection, and then I could project my consciousness or my spirit into oneness. Now I have this wonderful pathways of these fluent fibers of spiritual pathways that are inside and outside of my body, that have harmonized my nervous system, raised all of my human emotional tree to the heart space, which is that feeling of vitality and strength and power and knowledge. And that became God explained to me, this is the soil that the tree of life grows in, is the heart space. So
Okay.
you raise up through the human emotional tree, which is sexual, self-identity centered emotions. You get past that to the great heart center, and that becomes the soil that the tree starts to grow in. And it's like you receive a new set of emotions that I call celestial emotions, and they're emotions that I can't even describe with words because they're outside the human perspective. So I still feel fear, I still feel anger, still feel pain, sadness, happiness, all of the human emotional tree, but they're muted. I don't mean muted. I probably feel them 10 times more than a normal person, but I'm feeling these celestial emotions and feelings of radiant support and vitality and limitless possibility to where I never act on my anger. I never act on my sadness, meaning my human will be sad, but my angel is just fine. It's like I'm both at the same time because that's what it's like. You see life different, you experience life different, and I'm getting to where I'm more comfortable in my body than I was in my early 20s. With this array of the tree of life, my spiritual electromagnetic energy, it feels like I'm Iron Man, and I've got this suit of like living metal armor inside and outside of me. As I open and close my hands, there's a force inside, like a hydraulic force. My back is suspended by like magnetism. I swear to you, I move my body with 60% electromagnetic expansion and contraction at the cellular level instead of firing the muscular contraction the typical way. So I'm learning to manipulate my body spiritually
Mhm.
instead of firing off the nerves and using the flexation of the muscles to move myself.
Wow, wow. Do you know what just Michael feels like anymore? Are you like that all the time, or do you consciously enter that state?
I'm like that all the time, but I've got a dial. I can turn it up or turn it down, but I'm
Gotcha.
constantly seeking to have the middle of the dial be higher and higher and higher. I intend to
Ah,
overcome this physical experience entirely. I have no intention of dying one day, none whatsoever. There's not a single bit of me that feels that I will. And this is just something I was born with. I was born believing that we're in the day and age where God comes back to earth and we transcend into something new. And I just have a very graceful nonchalance that, yes, that is what we are doing. And I will either go first or I will be one of the ones that goes first. Or maybe we'll all do it at the same time. I don't know. I'm not attached. But I just want people to know that I believe this with all my heart that we can overcome our physical condition. It's a sensory impairment provided by the electrical system of the nerves. It's not real sensory data. It's not the body as it actually is, which is many, many tiny particles not even touching.
but do you believe that we're a soul having a human experience? Like there's lots of us trying this out, or do you?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
absolutely, except I'm now a soul having a spiritual experience. I am physical
Ah.
too, but I'm more spiritual than I am physical. So my electromagnetic, vibrational, sensational, extrasensory perception is more online than my physical senses. So I
Okay.
still am physical, but I'm
Yeah.
super physical, like more, more of the, yeah.
You're a superhero.
Well, I don't know about hero part, but yeah, supernatural would be accurate
Okay,
because
supernatural.
people
Yeah.
think supernatural and it's not breaking the laws of nature. It's the
Uh-huh.
next level of nature,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so interesting. Do you feel like you're here on Earth to help show and share, lead and guide others to just
absolutely.
know that this
That's
exists?
why God did
Yeah.
that for me
Yeah.
because I'm so good at communication. I can take all of my experiences, put it into a practical exercise that a second grader can understand
Hmm.
and implement into their life. That's why I was chosen. I know this with all of my heart because God would give me the experience. But then after that, the experience was done. I had to open the door myself. Another part of why I was called to be a teacher. Some people are born with these higher senses. I wasn't. I had to unlock it. And so I know how to teach other people how to do the same thing.
Yeah. Fantastic. And if someone wanted to work with you, how would they do that? How would they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, I've got two primary outlets that I teach through the Avatar Energy Mastery Institute and the Metaphysical Church of the Tree of Life. They're both available, umbrellaed underneath my bio site, which is michaelmonk.bio, Michaelmonk, michaelmonk.bio, bio.
Michael, where are you in the world?
Currently, I'm visiting my mother in Indiana, but
Oh,
I've been
okay.
traveling all over for 6 years. I've been to Bali, Austria, Colombia,
So
lots of.
is your church online?
It's a metaphysical church. So yes, it's the real church is in the spirit space, and there's a lot of people that are a part of it that don't even know it in their physical life yet, because we're all connected in spirit. On the other side of the veil, we're all teams of us are working together to bring about an enhancement to our physical experience. So I was very careful with my wording. It's a metaphysical church because our meeting place is in spirit, not in the physical, and because we study and practice metaphysics. But yes, we do meet online, physically speaking, but the primary meeting place of the church is in spirit.
Yeah, one of the big teachings within the Essenes that we were talking about earlier is that, that version of Yeshua is we are the temple, we are the church,
Yeah,
our physical
right.
bodies. It's not a building, it's not anything like that. We
Yeah,
are.
God showed me some wonderful things that the tree of life grows within each individual, that trees are male and female. So
Mhm.
my soulmate is growing through my tree of life, and my tree
Mm.
is growing through her tree. I feel her in my body. We co-pilot, and I co-pilot her body. When she's out of her body, I'm with her. And if she needs me, I externalize from her. And same thing when I'm out. So we have this fulfilling relationship, like it's just beyond words. But then God showed me that uh my tree, which is composed of me and my soulmate, is meant to interweave with other people's trees, and this starts to form the real church. It is multiple trees growing together like a forest. And then
Mhm.
God showed me through symbology that you put churches together, you get a temple. You put enough
Mhm.
temples together, and you get the kingdom. And
Mhm.
what God showed me is all of our individual trees of life form an even greater pattern, an even greater tree that will allow God to incarnate as a singularity here through all of us. And I know that sounds very far out, but yeah.
Hmm. No, it doesn't feel far out. It just feels like I'm probably not going to be around for that. I think I'm definitely here laying the groundwork, and unlike you, I am going to die.
Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
This this human this human body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an awareness of that. And I'm super okay with it. This has been so fun. I feel like I could have like you need a movie. Have the Michael Monk movie.
It
Yeah.
would be an incredible
Yeah.
movie.
Let's get you on Gaia because you you definitely have a lot to share that is like your understanding and your experiences are like exciting and so extra. So much. Yeah, and it's been going on for
Yeah.
such a long time. 1999, you've got a lot of experience. It's just all very exciting. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
You too. This
Yeah.
was great. You
Thank
brought
you
you
for
brought out good conversation from me, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, and thank you for sharing your story. Just wonderful. And I'm gonna have to now, do you still have a YouTube channel with any videos? Because I kind
Yes,
of want to
I
pop back and
started up
see.
a new YouTube channel, and some of my most loyal people downloaded my videos as all of this was happening, so I was able to re-upload most of my content.
Okay, right
So
on. Yeah.
yes, I do, and that's all available on my site. My social media links are there.
Okay, I'm gonna pop over and take a peek.
Oh,
Michael,
you'll love it.
what a pleasure. Well, I would love to tell you that I love you. God,
Love
Universe,
you
Source.
too.
Oh, thank you. God, Universe, Source loves you. And I hope that you
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful day.
You too.